Welcome back to the late night news. On to some national news now. Well, just when things were beginning to have a welcome change at the Commonwealth Games, here comes another example of utter carelessness. In fact, this time it's the Indian shooting squad that has the most number of gold medal hopefuls which has left in the lurch. The Indian shooting team, which landed in Delhi from Pune at 8:30 p.m. last evening, had to wait till 5 a.m. this morning to get rooms in the Games village. And now the controversy surrounding the Games takes a wild twist. The South African envoy claimed that a snake was found in an athlete's room in the village. African nations have given an ultimatum after this incident. However, the South African envoy said their team will not withdraw from the controversy-marred event. And well, there seems to be no end to the problems confronting the organizers of the Games there. And that's not where their ordeal ended. It was the Indian hockey team that complained last night. There was no water in their restrooms. Plumbers had to be rushed in. And also 150 flats have been declared unlivable as per sources. And of course, now the African nations have rebelled. Suresh Kalmadi has been kept out of a top-level review meeting today at the Games village, at which a fresh deadline Wednesday was set to complete all the work. The Cabinet Secretary and the Delhi Chief Minister met at the village, but in the absence of Kalmadi there. The Delhi Games chief, who toured the village, was not invited today, and Sheila Dixit and Mr. Chandrasekhar reviewed the work. And this is the only major Games site where the work is a big concern, with reports of filth, incomplete work and shoddy coordination.
तो कुल 400 फ्लैट कल दिए थे और आज 300 फ्लैट हैंडओवर।
आप उम्मीद है कि आज कल के बीच में 300-600 के करीब सब हो जाएगा।
सब हो जाएगा। बुधवार तक सारा कुछ फिनिश हो जाएगा।
Absolutely. और
And well, the Scottish have touched down in Delhi. A 56-member strong squad arrived in the capital today. Along with them, the patches of athletes and officials from Nigeria, Rwanda, Wales and the Isle of Man also arrived in Delhi this noon. Rwanda, remember, joined the Commonwealth Games only last year and will be making their debut this year at the Games. The athletes who have arrived today will check in straight into the village and will not be staying at any hotel. But heads have got to roll for this embarrassment, says Arun Jaitley. He in fact said that the Games mess makes him hang his head in shame.
Some of those photographs which I have seen, the BBC website photographs, after seeing those photographs, I wouldn't like to enter that place ever again in my life. It's so filthy. And I'm told even after they've cleaned it up, today again you have this problem coming up. Plumbers are being rushed, the sportsmen are complaining there is no water in their toilets and so on. If this is the mess that we have got into, I think many heads will have to roll. Let's just close our eyes and do the Games the best we can, and then somebody's heads will have to be rolled, and this will have to start at the top.
Moving on to some news from Kashmir now. Well, the curfew has been lifted from Srinagar city and many other districts in the valley. It has been lifted from 5 towns in South Kashmir and Handwara town in the northern Kashmir. This should also pave the way for the schools to reopen tomorrow after a long gap of 3.5 months. That's what the Chief Minister Omar Abdullah announced yesterday. And if a strike doesn't prevent the students from going to school, it will be one of the first signs of Centre's 8-point recharge formula beginning to work in the valley. Education of children has been immensely affected in the Kashmir Valley in the last 3 months of protests and curfews in which over 100 people, including children, have been killed. And in fact, Omar Abdullah said he will convene the Unified Command meeting at the earliest and will try to build a consensus. Well, heart diseases are more than common amongst Indians. Our food preferences, a sedentary lifestyle and a lack of preventive medical examinations could take the blame for that. And we bring you this report to mark World Heart Day to highlight how bad the situation is in our country and what needs to be done.
Heart disease is widespread in India, and Indians, it is believed, do not take preventive steps and take heart problems seriously only after actually suffering a heart failure. This 73-year-old man was healthy until recently was diagnosed with blocked coronary arteries, but regular checks had helped him stay healthy all along. But there are very few like him.
30 years ago, when we were in the medical school, coronary artery disease was considered a disease of rich nations. And I don't recall having more than 1 or 2 heart attacks in a week, or sometimes 2 weeks in an emergency. And now, obviously, over the last 2 decades, the number seems to have gone up enormously.
Topping the list of heart ailments in India is coronary heart disease. Experts forecast that deaths from cardiovascular diseases will touch the 3.75 million mark this year. They also warn of these 2 million deaths will be from heart attacks or coronary artery diseases. Doctors strongly recommend a change in lifestyle for both the young and the elderly.
Coronary artery disease is not something you get overnight. It's a lifetime's accumulation of fat in your arteries. So it starts as young as the age of 10 or 12 or 15. In big cities, children hardly get a chance to play. There are no playgrounds. Most of the playing is virtual in the computer screen. Childhood obesity is enormously a problem.
Doctors advise regular checkup for people as young as 30. But the silver lining is that with medical and surgical advancements, heart patients can now lead a normal life. In Chennai, with Zoya Thomas, Pratiksha for NDTV Hindu.
Well, it is an alarming fact that India carries the burden of topping the list for heart ailments, and the golden rule is listen to your doctor. Dr. Jacob James Raj tells us the importance of workplace wellness.
Everybody works, so everybody needs to look after the heart. And it's really a very simple thing. We need simple discipline in life, and that's all matters when it comes to heart health. So I've just summarized into 5 small points for you. Diet. You should know what you should eat, and more importantly, what you should not eat, and how much of each. And at workplace, you should be able to have a healthy diet. So it's both employee and employer's responsibility to have a healthy diet. So that's for D. Then risk factor management. So whoever has known risk factors like blood pressure, diabetes, or high cholesterol levels needs to manage that in a very disciplined way. Stress. Stress really takes the stress out of you, isn't it? So you need to be well disciplined about things in everyday life. Then your stress levels will come down. And of course, the one big no is smoking and exercise. Small exercises, where you are, where you sit.
Well, what do you do when you're unable to get a ticket for Superstars Endiran? Well, NDTV Hindu plays Master Magician for you to win that magic ticket.